Okay, now welcome to part 3 of this first lecture. Um, so I've given you an introduction to the course, a little bit of a lecture there. I've told you how the course, I've told you about various ethical categories and theories. You will be tired of hearing that because I will go over that again the first 2 or 3 classes. Then I told you about how the course would unfold and what you were required to do. So now I want to spend a couple of minutes actually doing some thinking about a moral issue. And this is one that you're likely not to face on a daily basis. But I think it'll be engaging. It's about cannibalism. So, how do you feel about cannibalism? Let's just suppose for a moment, for the sake of argument, that you are hungry. You're very hungry. You live in a household with you're a multi-generational household. And let's just ignore any laws for a moment. Just a thought experiment. And in that multi-generational household lives your grandmother. And your grandmother is, she doesn't have a disease. I mean, she has heart disease maybe, or COPD. But, she doesn't have like some communicable disease that you could contract. And Grandma is getting old. And Grandma knows that you guys don't have a lot of money. And so Grandma comes to you and says, honey, here's what I want. I don't want to be buried. Don't put me in a box in the ground. I don't want to be cremated. Don't burn me up. I might be going to hell anyway, so I don't want to be cremated. I want you to eat me when I'm dead. Listen to me. You don't have a lot of money. And you guys need food. And I'm pretty fat. So when I die, I want you to eat me. Would you do it? Could you do it? Why or why not? What would stop you? You don't have a lot of money. There's a danger that you'll be hungry. What would prohibit you from eating Grandma? Really? Think about it. Is it because you love her too much? She loves you more. She said, eat my flesh. Is it because you think you're going to catch a disease? No, science has proven there's no communicable disease just from eating human flesh, unless they have a communicable disease. But, Grandma dies of congestive heart failure or heart attack. No, there's no disease there. We've already set aside the possibility that it is a legal issue. We said, well, let's forget about the legal thing. So why is that a moral issue? Now, for many people, it would be. But let's think about it from a religious point of view. I'm going to assume that many of you watching this maybe are of the Judeo-Christian Islamic tradition. There's no major texts that prohibits you from eating grandma. There is no commandment in the Jewish scripture, the Hebrew scriptures, or the Christian scriptures that says, thou shalt not eat human flesh. It's not there. I've studied the Quran. I don't remember that being in the Quran. In fact, let me just play devil's advocate here. If you're Christian, Jesus actually says, unless you eat my flesh, you will have no part with me. Sounds pretty cannibalistic to me. So, what is the dilemma here? Is there a moral dilemma to eating human flesh? Has it ever been done? Yeah, actually, I posted a video that you can watch. It's actually been done quite often in the past. There's always the joke about the people like Jeffrey Dahmer who ate his victims. But then there's also the Dahmer Party, that when they were trying to cross the Rockies and they got stuck in a snowstorm, they ended up having to eat each other. But then here's a fascinating story, and I posted this for you. Meet the man who survived a plane crash by eating human flesh to stay alive. When Pedro Algorta's plane crashed in the Andes in 1972, he had to take drastic measures to avoid death. 40 years later, what it's like to know you ate your friend's hands. And so he tells the story here about how he actually had to consume part of his dead friend in order to survive. We know that it's happened at other times throughout history. So why wouldn't you eat grandma if she asked you to do it? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we have to distinguish between what is our opinion and what is actually right or wrong here. If there is no legal prohibition, it is simply a taboo, then, that determines for us what is moral and what is immoral. In this case, perhaps eating grandma would be considered immoral. But conversely, if grandma told only you, and you have 3 children now, plus your mother and father who are starving, and grandma said, eat me, what would be the greater immoral act? To carve up grandma like a Thanksgiving turkey? I think you probably need to slow roast her. She might be a little tough. So would it be more immoral to carve her up or to allow your own children to go hungry? Which would be the greater immoral act? I'd submit to you that most of us would get out our butcher knives and we'd find the leanest part of grandma we could, probably the butt, grandma's butt, and we would eat her. Now, what if eating grandma could actually save the planet. There is a scientist who's made the argument, it's a Swedish scientist, I've given you this article as well, who's made the argument that eating human flesh will save the planet from climate change. And so he makes a compelling argument that we don't need all the animals that we have, that we kill to eat, if we really want to eat meat. The most reliable source is other humans. So why wouldn't we do it? Why do we find it so abhorrent and repulsive today? Because morally, there might not be a reason to forego eating human flesh. Now, I know what your assumptions might be about this. So that's why I'm asking you, that's why I'm using this topic. I want you to think about this and how you came to your assumptions on this topic. How did you come to the conclusion that it would be wrong? Is it just because you were told it's wrong? Well, who decided it was wrong? Where does the prohibition against eating human flesh come from? It won't make you crazy. You're not going to die from it. It's a perfectly reliable source of meat. And it could save the planet. All those cows farting and putting methane into the air. Well, this could actually help. You're still not convinced, though, are you? Why? Does it then become a true moral issue for you? Or is it just you're squeamish about it? Does it just feel a little too taboo to think about eating another human? So with that, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to see how much you engage with these lectures. And starting next week, probably, I'll give you some things to discuss online. But for now, I'd like you to think about it. All right, guys, have a good day.